Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Thursday, December the 5th. And if we take a look at our Bloomberg app this morning, you can see that Bitcoin has crossed the $100,000 mark. And a lot of this is based on the expectations that President-elect Trump is pro crypto and that it will further drive it northward with greater adoption in the US. So that's interesting. And if you follow crypto, and I follow crypto quite a bit, you can see that a lot of the other cryptocurrencies or crypto coins have risen significantly over the course of the last couple of months. It's been extremely beneficial, especially after the US election result, seeing the Republican victory and the Trump win. So if you are investing in crypto, probably a good time to, as they say, hodl that, HODL, instead of hold that, because it does seem to be on the rise and looks like it will continue to rise. The other things kind of on the under or in the news, I'll say today, it's a bit of a quiet news day, but we had a release, you can see here at the bottom, from TD Bank, a Canadian bank. They missed on earnings. CIBC, another Canadian bank, exceeded and beat on earnings. So they're up, CIBC in the pre-market. TD is down quite substantially, 2 or 3% in the pre-market. And they've just had a horrific year. They really need to reshuffle management, in my opinion, get rid of the CEO and some of their different executives and bring some new folks in to get through this time period where they've really fumbled the ball and opened themselves up to some significant $2 billion fines from the SEC for some of the failures that have occurred. If we flip over to the futures markets, let's take a look at where we are in the indices. The 3 U.S. indices are all in the red, but only slightly. They're pretty much flat. And hard to say what today's going to do. One of the things that we want to look at today over in the Yahoo Finance app is just where crude is. So crude was down, it was up, and then it fell sharply, and then it's come back, and it's now green and positive. We did see it fall yesterday, so it dropped back into the 68 range, down from the 70s. So it was a pretty big drop yesterday. If you look at the 5-day, you can see there's been a fair bit of volatility there. So it started in the 68s, it climbed up into the mid 70s, like 70, 40, and then it dropped back down into the 67s, and now it's up into the mid 68 range. So if we can get crude back up, or if crude comes back up to 69 or even 70, I think it's going to lift oil stocks. And I don't know whether that's going to happen today or tomorrow, but I expect before the end of next week, we'll see crude back up in the $70, $71 level, and that should lift all of the oil stocks that we follow. So I think now is a good time to be transitioning into a part of your portfolio anyway, some of it into some of the oil stocks that we follow, because I do think there's a potential 2 or 3% upside before Christmas, let's say, but in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So where are we today in the markets? If we look through our health and retail list, we can see that mostly positive. Those dollar store, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, I've mentioned that. All of these dollar store chains have been doing fairly well. This quarter has been fairly positive. So you can see that they're up again in the pre-market. Walmart's up. Costco was up yesterday. It's up again today in the pre-market. Home Depot down yesterday, recovering a little, but not to any great extent. And then we got healthcare kind of just hovering. We're going to move through transport because it's kind of a dead area for me right now, and then into oil. So yesterday, oil was a pretty bad day across the board for most of these stocks. I released a short yesterday on, I thought the timing was good, potentially if crude turned and went up, which it ended up not doing, to get into oil. And then it fell further, and I ended up getting into some oil positions yesterday when it dove down, and just waiting now on a recovery for those. So I think there is some buying opportunity here. Valero at 134, I think, is an absolute steal, even though it's off 35 cents in the pre-market. I think there's an opportunity for that to get back up to the 140s by the end of December. So that would be a nice little percentage gain. Moving down into tech, tech has been super strong. I think it's going to continue to be super strong. There's no reason why it's not. We've got some results that continue to trickle out. We have Micron coming out in 13 days. I think this is going to be, they're going to have very good earnings, and I think this stock is going to jump significantly. This was in the high 90s in the last couple of days. It's now up at 103. I think we're going to see this stock get to 120 within 14 days when earnings come out. CrowdStrike had an incredible day yesterday, up $14. Palantir fell off a little, but it's at all-time highs. Apple is 243. Again, I don't see there's a lot of room for Apple to go further at this point without a next earnings release, but I mean, anything's possible in this market. CRM had an amazing day, even though the results weren't really outstanding, but they talked about their AI agent and it took off like a rocket. It's pulling back a little bit today in the pre-market, as you can see, but they had a banner day yesterday. Palo Alto as well had a great day. Net had a great day, up at 110. Called this a couple weeks ago. We said Net's going to go from the 90s up to 110 before mid-December, and boom, we're there. So that was another correct call we've made. We look at On got hit hard, not sure why, because most of the other semis did pretty well, but it fell significantly yesterday. Shopify's been a rock star. AMD was up, and I think it'll continue to go up, even though it's off in the pre-market today, just 24 cents right now. Lam Research has had a few good days. Yesterday, it was down 8 cents. It wasn't a bad day. It's off a little in the pre-market. I think this is going to be a $90 stock by mid-January at the latest, and I think there's a lot of potential for that company. Tesla recovered a little yesterday. It's up in the pre-market today. Again, that's a stock I think is way overvalued. I'm staying away from that. Meta has been doing phenomenal. It didn't do much yesterday, and it's only up slightly today. But over the course of the last 5 days, it's gone, maybe we'll call it 10 days, it's gone from the 550s, 560s, up to now 613. So that's a huge move. I think the upside there is gone. I don't think we're going to see that go up another $30 without some news. There is news around TikTok. So their TikTok in the US and Canada is being discussed as something that the governments may force to be sold off or shut down. If it is sold off, then Meta, Oracle, Microsoft, a number of other companies would all be looking to buy those assets and those the underlying technology and algorithms, Google as well. So it'd be interesting to see what plays out there. That getting sold to someone other than Facebook or Meta could affect the Meta share price temporarily. And that's something that would be a risk concern for me at this point with Meta and with some of the other tech companies that would be looking to make an acquisition of that. NVIDIA had a great day yesterday. Google's on its way back. So again, Google was in the 160s last week. Recommended to buy it there. I think this stock is going to 195, probably in December, but for sure by mid-January. And up $3 yesterday. That's a nice 1.5% gain. I would just continue to hold that and ride that upwards as the market continues to move forward. Adobe coming out with results shortly, 6 days away from Adobe's results. I think we're going to get this stock back up into the 560, 575 range. It may even hit $600 with good earnings. We've seen good earnings for CRM. We've had good earnings from other tech companies. This one's been a laggard this year and it's been struggling, but I think that this quarter could be the turning point. If they talk about AI like CRM did, and that has the same effect that it did for CRM, this stock is going to skyrocket after earnings. And then TSM. We were recommending TSM back in the low 180s. It's now over 200, which we said it would get back to. So another correct prediction here. Hopefully you got in on that one. And then down to financials. So looks like SoFi might be pulling back a little bit today, but for that stock at $16 to move 40 or 50 cents in a day is a pretty big swing. So if it does drop 40 or 50 cents, I think it's a great buying opportunity to get in and then just wait for it to come back, which it has all year long. And then we get down into the larger financials. Most of them were in the green, the big ones yesterday, Goldman, Morgan Stanley, JPM, but it looks like we're in the red. Most of them look like they're in the green this morning, but only slightly. Again, I don't think there's a lot to move the financials further upwards right now. If anything, I'm a little skeptical of the big financials because I do feel like they're overpriced and overvalued, all on the hype of deregulation with the new Trump administration. And I don't think we're going to see the actual results and execution of and the deliverables on the deregulation for the better part of a year, till almost the end of 2025, maybe into 2026. So until we actually see that materialize, I'm not sure that'll translate into the profits and the revenue to justify the multiples that we're at here. So I'm avoiding the big financials, waiting for a pullback. TD, as I mentioned earlier, announced results this morning with CIBC. TD's results were horrific. This has been a dismal company to have money in. I can say that because I am a shareholder of TD. I love TD as an organization to work with. Its people are fabulous, but it's just been horrific experience to own it as an investor over the last couple of years. So I'm hoping we've reached the turning point there and we're going to see this change, and we have better things ahead, greener pastures ahead for TD. So it may be a buying opportunity if you do believe that they could turn it around. I definitely believe it can be turned around, but it's a long-term play at this point. So in terms of earnings, we had TD, we had CIBC come out. We've got Lululemon announcing aftermarket today, and then we had Dollar General this morning, which is up. So that's where we are. Monday, we've got Oracle and MongoDB. Tuesday, AutoZone. Wednesday is Adobe, and then Thursday is Costco. So be really interesting. And then the following week, we get Micron. So be interesting week next week to see where we are there. I'm a big believer in Costco, although I think it's near its highs in terms of its price earnings valuation right now. I do think that Adobe is the most likely one to have a nice pop and really see some stock appreciation as we get earnings next Wednesday after market. That's where we are today. Good luck with your trades. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment. Happy to talk about those. And please leave me a like and subscribe.